This song, because I think a lot of times we think of God as someone who's distant, someone who's very far away, and he's big and powerful in heaven, and he's not close to our hearts. And I was talking earlier about the way that God wants to hold you and to love you and to tell you that you're beautiful. And for some of you, it kind of seems like, whoa, okay, like God moves mountains and walks on water and like parts the Red Sea. He doesn't come down, right? He's not close to me, and that's the whole reason that Jesus came down to earth when he was incarnate, is to say, I want to be in all of your mess. I want to be there in whatever that you're dealing with. That's the reason that Jesus is present to us in the Blessed Sacrament every moment of every day. To say, I never want to be distant from you. I'm not this big, huge, powerful God in the heaven. Not only huge and powerful, I'm also small and near to you. And we're going to talk about some of the more practical things in life. And I think sometimes you don't want to talk to God about little things, right? Because you're afraid that he's not interested. He's not interested in your dating life. He's not interested in your wardrobe. He's only interested in like whether or not you go to hell. But other than that, he doesn't care about the little things in your life. And I don't think that's true. So I want to sing this song for you guys. I want you to pray it with me. Asking God to be small for us. Asking God to be present to us now. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Oh, great God, be small enough to hear me now. There were times when I was crying from the dark of Daniel's den, and I had asked you once or twice if you would calm the sea again. But tonight I do not need a fiery pillar in the sky. Just want to know you're gonna hold me if I start to cry. Oh, great God, be small enough to hear me now. Oh, great God, be close enough to feel me now. There have been moments when I could not face Goliath on my own. And how could I forget we've marched around our share of Jerichos? But I will not be setting out a fleece for you tonight. Just want to know that everything will be alright. Oh, great God, be close enough to feel me now. All praise and all the honor be to the God of ancient mysteries, whose every sign and wonder turn the pages of our history. But tonight my heart is heavy, and I cannot keep from whispering this prayer. Are you there? And I know you could leave writing on the wall that's just for me, or send wisdom while I'm sleeping, like in Solomon's sweet dreams. I don't need the strength of Samson or a chariot in the end. Just want to know that you still know how many hairs are on my head. Oh, great God, be small enough to hear me now. know that you matter. That there is nothing in your life that God doesn't care about. That it's okay to take your pain to prayer. It's okay to take your drama to prayer, right? You don't need to vent to every person you know. You don't need to put it all over Twitter. You just need to come to the Lord and say, Jesus, I am hurting. I'm lonely. And I'm suffering. And I feel guilty and I feel ashamed. And you need to know that you can always come back to Him. You need to fall on your knees in the confessional and ask the Lord to draw you back closer. And you need to know that you deserve better than the way that you've been treated. Every one of you, you deserve better than the way that you've been treated. You deserve to have people look at you and to know that you are beautiful, you are precious, and you are loved. And I think a lot of times we look around us, we look at the way that girls treat us, we look at the way that boys treat us, the way they talk about us, the way they look at us, what they want to do with us, and we think that that's all we're worth. And we think that's all we're ever going to see, right? But Jesus says you were made for more. You know the image of romantic love that we're given in Scripture? It's not flowers, it's not candy, it's not someone holding open a door for you. It's not someone saying, you complete me. If a boy ever tells you, you complete me, you better recognize that he's missing something. And take a step back until he can figure out that you're not going to complete him. That's not love. You know what love is? Love is a man who goes joyfully to his death for you. Love is Peter Miller.
What?
Wait for Peter. No. In the Hunger Games, Team Peter.
No.
I don't even know what to do with them. I'm like, are you kidding me? Because every day he laid down his life for her. That's the love that you were made for. Not just the love of Christ who lays down his life for you, but if you're called to marriage, that's what your husband's love is going to look like. Ephesians 5 makes this very clear. Ephesians 5 makes some people angry. Because Ephesians 5 says, wives, be obedient to your husbands. And people are like, I'm sorry, I am liberated. I am a strong, liberated woman. I can make my own choice. I'm not going to be obedient to anybody. Read the rest of the sentence. It says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and handed himself over for her. Paul says, wives, be obedient to your husbands. Husbands, be crucified for your wives. And all of a sudden, obedience doesn't sound that bad, does it?
Really?
I can be obedient to a man who's being crucified for me. The Lord tells you the kind of love you were made for is a love that hands itself over to suffer for you every day. The guy you're talking to right now, is that how he loves you? Probably not. Most of us probably can't even picture what that would look like. And maybe you think that it doesn't exist because you haven't seen it, but my friends, I have seen it. I have a friend, when we were in college, he fell in love with his best friend. And he thought she loved him back, and he was so excited. And so he sat her down, and he told her that he was in love with her, and she was like, I'm sorry, I don't love you. She said, I'll pray about it. And a week later, she came back, and she was like, I'm sorry, I think you're an amazing person, but I'm not feeling it. And he said, that's okay. I understand. But I need you to know that I still love you. And a month later, he came to her, and he said, hey, I don't want you to feel any pressure, but I want you to know that you're the most beautiful woman I've ever known. And that I love you. And she was like, okay, thank you very much, but I don't feel the same way. And he was like, all right, that's cool. And a month later, he came to her and he said, I don't want to put any pressure on our relationship, and I'm happy just to be your friend, and we can keep pretending that I don't have these feelings for you, but I need you to know that you deserve to be loved, even if you're not giving anything in return, and I want you to know that I love you. And she was like, it's getting excessive. You might want to back off. And he was like, okay, I'm sorry. And a month later, he was like, I know, I told you I was going to back off, but I just need you to know that even if you never love me back, I'm going to keep loving you until the day that I die. Every month for a year and a half, he came to her and said, "You're the most incredible woman I've ever known, and even if you never want to be with me, I need you to know that I love you." And finally, she was in adoration one night. It hit her, and she fell in love with this guy, and she went to him and was like, yeah, about that. Like, I'm in. 9 months later, they were engaged. They're now married. They have 3 beautiful little children. And this guy told me, when he was chasing this girl and repeatedly being rejected, he said, "You know what? I'm so glad. I'm so glad that she doesn't love me. Because I'm learning to love her without wanting to possess her. I'm learning to love her just because she is good and not because of anything she's given me." These guys are out there. I'm talking guys who get up at 4 o'clock in the morning so that their wives can live in the suburbs. Take an hour-and-a-half train, work all day long so that they can be back in time for dinner. Walk in the door, take off their tie, drop to the floor, play with their kids. Help their wives finish making dinner, and then as soon as dinner is over, say, "You go lie down, I'll do the dishes, and I'll put the kids to bed." Every night, even though he got up at 4:30 in the morning. These guys are out there. Guys who will say to you, "You deserve better. You're worth more." Guys who will say you're worth waiting for, even if you don't believe it. I've seen these men. And I know they're there. I have not seen these boys, 12-year-old boys for the most part. Not worth your time. I will give you my personal opinion. My personal opinion is that dating in middle school is the worst choice you will ever make. And dating in high school isn't much better. One of the best decisions I made in my life was not to date in high school. And it removed all of the drama. And really very little romance, because there just isn't a lot of romance. There's just a lot of mess in there. And I'm not telling you need to break up with your boyfriend if you're dating someone. I'm not saying that. That's your choice. But I'm saying that you got to ask yourself, are these guys man enough to deserve you? Because a lot of us, we're just desperate for any kind of attention, right? We talked about that earlier. Your longing will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. And so we're willing to take whatever we can get. And a guy shows some interest in us, and we don't care that he's a stoner. Or that he's rude to his mother. Or that he cheats on his homework. We don't care that he's not really that attractive. Right? He's not a really good person. We'll just take what we can get. See, you are a child of God, right? And God is the king of the universe. What is the daughter of a king? A princess, right? I told a little girl one time, my goddaughter, I was like, "Natalie, you're a princess." And she said, "No, I'm not. I'm Natalie Sanders." I was like, "Okay, but your father is the king, and that makes you a princess." And she looks at me and she goes, "My father is not a king. My father is Aaron Sanders. He goes to Notre Dame." All right, let's sit down and back up a little bit. God, your father, okay, right? We don't think about ourselves that way. We don't think about the dignity that we have as princesses. We don't consider the fact that we were made beautiful in the image and likeness of God, that we are dressed in dignity, and we're put up in this tower of purity and asked to wait. It gets boring in that tower, doesn't it? It gets lonely in that tower. Looking down and seeing everybody else in their relationships, feeling like there must be something wrong with me because nobody wants me. And so we look out the window, and you're like, "Ooh, there's a pig farmer down there. He's kind of cute." I mean, he's like covered with pig slop, but other than that, he's pretty great. We see this guy who's totally beneath our dignity, and we're like, "Hello, hey, hi, look at me." And he's like, "Yeah, all right." And so we're like, "Okay, well, how can I get his attention?" If I pull my shirt down a little bit lower, hike my skirt up a little bit higher, tie some sheets together, and then rappel down the outside of the tower, then he'll see me, and then he'll want me. We sink to his level. And here's what happens when you sink to someone else's level. They look and they're like, "Awesome. I don't have to try." You find some guy who you think is cute, and you know he's no better than he should be. And you say, that's okay though, I can fix him. I'll just climb down into the mud with him, and then I can fix him. You can. But he can maybe fix himself. So here's what you do. You stay in your tower. And one of two things happens. Either he looks up at you, he washes off that muck, puts on his armor, slays the dragon, climbs up in the tower, and is there with you, or he decides you're not worth the effort, and either way, you're better off. That boy you have a crush on right now, would you want your sons to be like him? Some of y'all said yes, okay. That boy you have a crush on right now, would you want him to be your daughter's standard? Because if he talks down to you, he'll talk down to them. If he's not concerned with being a saint, he is not worth your time. Doesn't matter if he plays guitar, it doesn't matter if he has curly hair, it doesn't matter if he speaks Italian, and all of these things that you have on your list. Here's what matters. Is he a man of God? Is he pure? Does he pray? Is he willing to sacrifice for you? Is he willing to be the butt of other guys' jokes? I forgot this was middle school. I apologize. It's a thing, a butt of somebody's joke. Is he willing to suffer for you? And you guys, if you're in 7th grade, 8th grade, the answer is probably no. And if you're in 10th, 11th, 12th grade, the answer is still probably no. But those guys are out there. You just have to set a standard for yourself. And what is your standard? That man. A man who never calls you fat. Never ignores you when his friends are around. A man who's willing to get up in the middle of the night when you're feeling sick and get you the one thing you need. My sister, when she's pregnant, that she goes through a phase where all she can eat is citrus fruit. And every morning she rolls over at 5 o'clock in the morning and she says to her husband, "Can you peel me an orange?" And at 5 o'clock in the morning he gets out of bed, goes to the kitchen, peels her an orange, pulls it into sections, brings it back to her in bed, and strokes her face while she eats her orange. I don't know about that last part, but it gives me These guys are out there, but you have to decide to hold them to the standard of Christ, and you have to live to that standard yourself. You can't expect a decent guy if you're not going to make the right choices. And it's a matter of the way that you behave. It's a matter of the way that you dress. Now, I want to be very clear. No matter what you wear, no matter what you drink, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, no one has a right to look at you or touch you like you're an object. Nobody has the right to treat you in a way that you don't desire. But you got to consider there are guys out there who are trying to be holy, trying so hard to be holy, but the way that we dress impacts that, right? I knew guys in college who were so holy and really wanted to be good men. But at Notre Dame, it's bitterly cold for like 11 months out of the year. And so when it finally gets to 50 degrees in like May, everyone just takes off all their clothes. All the girls are like, woohoo, sunbathing bikini time. And I had guy friends who would walk half a mile out of their way so as not to have to walk past girls. Because they were trying so hard to be pure. I've had guys come to me with tears in their eyes and say, I tried to convince my friends that leggings aren't pants. and they're like, I don't even know how to have a conversation with them. It is so hard for me. What can I say? Not because your body is bad, because your body is good. Right? If a guy wants to lust after you, that is not your fault. But think about it this way. If you have a buddy who's an alcoholic, you're going to take him to a bar? No. If he gets drunk, whose fault is that? Yeah. It's his fault. You didn't pin him down and pour booze down his throat. But are you innocent? No. could have gone somewhere else. So I want you guys to take some time in prayer over the next couple of days and ask yourself, am I living like that princess in the tower? Am I dressing like a princess? Am I acting like I have dignity? Am I treating other girls the way that I should? Am I letting the Lord love me? Because if this is your standard, you're going to find a lot more joy and a lot less drama. But you also have to conform to that standard. You have to let the Lord love you, and then you have to love him back. And God is going to do amazing things, not just in your soul, but also in your love life. Those men are out there. Don't settle. And don't sink down to anyone else's level. Your only goal in life is to be a saint. Everything else is just gravy. Can you do that for me? At least try. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Something else like